But when he bolted into the room like Harry Potter, he found it was just a simple magic trick, while the real Helen was held at the nearby administration center. Flat Top immediately returned to base, ordering his minions to step up for battle. Just as they ran outside, a mining truck sped towards them, but oddly, the opponent just passed by. As minions were confused, Jack swiftly forced them to surrender. Turns out Martin is a misdirection master. It was then Flat Top realized his big trouble. He sent the boss away to prepare for a showdown, like an arena in the jungle. Unfortunately, stepping out, Jack shoved a gun to his head but wanted to surprise him with fists instead. To avenge his fallen brothers, Jack pinned Flat Top against the wall, like a martial arts epic scene. No fancy moves, just fists hitting flesh. Flat Top broke the rules, but Jack dodged swiftly like a ninja cat. Jack seized the chance, broke Flat Top's arm, kicked him, ending the brawl. The little guy inside panicked. Jack's right hand shook in battle. He sensed the situation inside, needing a fatal blow to turn the tide, just like a superhero. Finally, he cautiously met the mastermind, who looked as gloomy as a stone, unfazed by the loss of his crew. Jack planned to let him face the law, but the boss said prison was like a vacation, especially since Jack was a wanted man. With no choice, Jack sent him to the afterlife. Though not his style, he and Martin left like successful comedy partners. He trusted Helen to handle the rest. Soon, Bal woke up only to learn he had killed 5 people, feeling devastated. Guilt surged through him. Helen knew Bal wasn't a murderer. She showed him Jack's photo, unlocking a new world for Bal. This was Helen's key evidence proving Bal was framed. Who knew Bal's own body would come to the rescue? But Bal still felt super scared, knowing someone cares only about right and wrong, ignoring law and evidence. That person would definitely find a way to take justice into their own hands, resulting in him being whisked away by 2 cops after just a cup of coffee, destined to spend the next 20 years in jail. But end totally chill, he said. In 90 seconds, 2 things. The wall phone rings, the sheriff in the hat gets locked up. The 2 cops laughed, but the phone rang next. The man reminded the distracted sheriff to answer. It turned out the sheriff abused his power, teaming up with 4 thugs to kidnap smuggling victims, exposed by the man. All evidence was given to the military police. The sheriff answered skeptically, only to be surrounded by cop cars after stating his name. The man's name was Jack, once a legendary major in the military police, now a vigilante, a transformation as swift as magic. Jack made a special trip to thank him and arranged dinner, but found no sign of Susan on arrival. When he thought he had made a mistake and was sneaking away, he was called back. Turns out, Susan was fired days ago over espionage. Jack was really taken aback, considering they had just had a warm chat days ago, even if it was brief, mostly familiar territory. He didn't ask more, turning to leave. Susan's case was too secret. The colleague could only mention the lawyer's name and location in code, hoping Jack could help clear Susan's name, but when he found the lawyer to inquire, the guy handed him a lawsuit instead. The charge, abandoning wife and daughter, refusing support. Thankfully, Mansa was 15. Jack felt completely flabbergasted. He began reviewing past details, but nothing came to mind. He discreetly kept Mansa's photo and inquired about Susan. The lawyer claimed he found a hard drive at her home, filled with government secrets. The military suspected her of espionage, but it could all be a setup. This specific situation would have to wait until he met Susan herself the next day, leaving Jack no choice but to exercise. However, just arriving at the restaurant, a black sedan followed. Goofing around, they realized the target vanished. Just as they began pointing fingers at each other, Jack suddenly knocked on the car window, pulled out one guy's ID, and discovered they belonged to the parasecurity company. What a coincidence! But Jack didn't take action, just warned them to stop trailing him. Then he found Mansa's address based on the leads following her from He discovered she was living in terrible conditions, even having to steal a toothbrush. But during the chase, Jack's tone didn't change, sounding just like Mansa. Turns out Mansa sensed Jack's presence but didn't expose him. When Jack wanted to meet her mum, he was resolutely refused. Then she flipped her metaphorical hair and walked away, completely unaware that someone nearby was secretly recording everything. The next day, the lawyer handed Jack the files he'd found. They showed Susan had sent people to Afghanistan for a mission, but the results were drastically off. Found dead at the base 2 days ago by close-range gunfire. Those in Susan's espionage arrest seemed unrelated, but Jack smelled a conspiracy. He believed those people had been trailing him, killing the deployed soldiers, just to keep Susan out of sight, then find a way to silence her. So tonight, they had to rescue Susan. But the lawyer saw it as mere speculation without evidence, yet Jack insisted. He asked the lawyer to wait for his call. As night descended, Jack tried calling but got no answer. It turned out the lawyer had been kidnapped, and the one who had filmed Jack was the killer, desperately wanting to know what the lawyer had revealed to Jack. The lawyer insisted he only spoke for 10 minutes and revealed no useful information at all, ultimately meeting a brutal end at the killer's hands. The next day, Jack was brought back to military police, citing the reason that the lawyer was found dead in his own home after the meeting, and Jack couldn't provide an charged with murdering a high official. He was to be imprisoned for questioning. Jack expected local police, but instead was to be jailed with Susan. Actually, Jack was worried about not being able to reach Susan, seeing this as a chance. Therefore, entering the prison, he constantly surveyed his surroundings. Not only did he surreptitiously monitor Susan's prison location through the cameras, but he also tried to uncover every clue about her cell. However, just as the lawyer urged him to spill the details, Jack noticed the two individuals who had been tailing him also entered the prison. What a twist! Clearly, they came for Susan. Jack claimed no breakfast to distract the lawyer, then attacked when led to his cell. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe.